If you've been on the Global Offensive subreddit or Twitter over the last couple of days, you've probably seen a bunch of people losing their minds over the latest CSGO patch, and for a couple of different reasons. For anyone who's been living under a rock, the update contains significant changes to a number of weapons, most notably the Krieg or SG553. Yes, that's right, the long-awaited Krieg Nerf is finally here, after more than a year of complaints from professional players, talent, and the community at large. The legacy of the Krieg and the controversy surrounding its prevalence, particularly at the pro level, is fascinating and warrants a separate video coming soon. So for now, let's focus on the main source of the hysteria surrounding the patch, the changes to the Desert Eagle. Right off the bat, I'm just going to come out and say it. This is one of the most ridiculous overreactions to a weapon change I've ever seen in CSGO. I've been playing the game since 2014, and over the last 6 years, Valve have certainly rolled out some questionable updates. Actually, no, I'm being far too kind. There have been some absolutely stone cold retarded updates, to the point where no one in the community is sure if anyone working there actually plays the game or watches any professional tournaments. Given this wobbly history then, it's probably a good idea to cast a critical eye over any new weapon changes coming into the game. But on this one, folks, I have to say the reaction has been a tad overzealous. Okay, so let's establish the facts. The Deagle received a major buff to its accuracy while jumping in order to, in Valve's own words, reduce the time taken to recover accuracy when landing. This, along with other tweaks in the update, seems to be in line with suggestions from Sloth Squadron, the community's resident weapon balance wizard, that the delay for your accuracy to recover when landing was just far too high. However good the intentions might have been though, it looks like they've botched the execution in classic Valve style, taking the buffs much further than necessary. In Sloth Squadron's own analysis of the update, he called the changes baffling and said the Deagle is now one of the most accurate guns in the game for jump shooting. Now, jumping and accuracy are two words that hardcore CS players, myself included, get very nervous about when they appear in the same sentence, especially when we're talking about a $700 pistol that's not exactly weak as it is. People's worst fears were soon compounded by several videos being posted showing players bouncing around, hitting back-to-back airborne 1Ds. Cue the aforementioned hysteria. But I can't help wonder how many of the people posting about this have actually gone into the game and tried it out for themselves. For what it's worth, I hopped into aimbots and tried my absolute hardest to reproduce the most egregious examples I'd seen. As you can see, it's certainly possible to string multiple jump shot headshots together, but it's far from consistent. What about a real game scenario then, with moving targets who can shoot back? Well, this is where I really think the issue is getting overblown. Since the update landed, I have yet to be killed by a jumping Deagle shot. I wanted to try it for myself too, so two friends and I bought Deagles for an entire match on what I thought would be the best map to do so, Mirage, and we didn't land a single one. You see, when you actually try it out, you very quickly realize that jumping in place is honestly just a really idiotic way to take a duel. You can't strafe without throwing off the accuracy even further, so for the entire time you're in the air, you are a literal sitting duck, and unless your opponent is really quite close, the spread is still large enough that you're almost guaranteed to miss. Going for jump shots is almost always more likely to get you killed than net you the frag, and in every scenario I encountered, I'd have been better off taking a regular standing or crouching shot. The only possible exception to this was B apps, but again, jumping without strafing leaves you incredibly vulnerable to having your head ripped off by anyone with half decent aim. Yes, in a controlled environment like aimbots, it definitely feels more reliable than it should. And frankly, the whole concept of jumping headshots with the Deagle is absurd, but in a real competitive scenario, it's simply not a very viable tactic. Once again then, this whole situation boils down to an unfortunately predictable level of incompetence by Valve. This update was the Krieg Nerf that people had been crying out for so long. It should have got nothing but positive press, but instead it's been marred by yet another change that wasn't well implemented or explained, and the community has been left to run amok with its worst case scenario interpretation. There have been so many bizarre, unexplained weapon changes down the years, and it's genuinely puzzling that Valve continue to be so poor at managing the relationship with their dedicated community. Anyway, that's enough ranting from me for now. What are your thoughts on the Deagle changes and the rest of the update? I personally can't wait for the next update, in which they reduce the price of the auto sniper to $2,000 and add an RPG inspired by the wonderful reception of Raze by Valorant players. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe and ding that bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, chaps. I'll catch you on the next one.